Alright guys, welcome back to another ESO video, and in today's video I'm going to show you guys my non-essential yet essential role player in ESO, my Templar healer. This is Corey, and she's a wood elf, and unbuffed she sits about 30k magicka, 14k spell resistance, and physical resistance is pretty low, but that's okay. She's got a lot of sustain. She's easy to maintain resources with, and with my favorite food that I use, the Witch Mother's Potent Brew. I'm gonna go ahead and activate that. That's gonna add about 3k more magicka, and we really use it for the recovery because as a healer, your rotation doesn't necessarily take a lot of magicka. So the more that you can sustain, the easier that healing is. But I don't only use the Witch Mother's Potent Brew. I have the Ghastly Eyeball that I usually use outside of trials and other trials or dungeons, like advanced content such as like VDSA and such. I usually keep this in dungeons because you really don't need the extra health. More recovery the better, like I said. And I'm also a vampire. I keep stage 3 to take less damage, and also have the 2-part passive for the 10% more magic recovery. Obviously keep that at stage 3 if possible. These aren't hard to find, and they're not very expensive either. They're easy to make as well, so you shouldn't have a problem with getting these if you decide to run vampire. Yeah, like I said though, typically that's the food that I run, the drink for the extra magicka and recovery, and also more health, because obviously, you know, when you're in trials as content, you do get hit pretty hard, and if you're not shielded up, you can be taken down, and obviously a healer that's taken down is no good for the team. But yeah, that's the food that I run, and I usually keep the normal trash bots active because, like I said, your recovery shouldn't be bad at all. Like, you should never really have sustain issues because you are truly just a support role. You're not really there to do too much damage other than to support the DPS. So yeah, you can typically get by with just regular trash pots, but also, you know, when you're doing tougher content, keep spell power pots just in case. You know, they give a little bit more magicka and obviously bump up that magicka recovery. I also use these immovability pots to, just in case an essential role goes down, you can use these to get them up and obviously not have to worry about getting knocked back off of the revive. And as a Templar, typically, you know, you're already quicker on the revive as is, so you shouldn't really have a problem with that. But yeah, just keep that in tripods, obviously. But typically, you can get by with just regular magicka trash pots, as long as you have them available. I would suggest using them, because like I said, you don't really have problems with sustain issues. But onto the gear. Obviously, I'm wearing a Worm Coat, a 5-piece Worm Coat, and a 5-piece Spell Paracue, because that's kind of meta, obviously, for healers. You don't really need to run anything else. If you are going to run anything else, I would go with like Mending, and that's only if someone else already has Worm Coat. But yeah, you got 5 pieces of Worm Coat, 5 pieces of Spell Paracure. Don't judge me for my jewelry. I've got a blue piece, but like I said, 5 pieces of both and you should be good. I also have access to the Master's Staves, infused obviously because it's going to be best in slot for the next patch. Infused for both, obviously the Lightning Staff if you have it, because the Wall of Elements, the Unstable Wall of Elements, that definitely helps out the team with the off balance effect, and also the 8% DPS increase with AoEs. But yeah, you got 5 pieces of both of those. Foods are easy. I run the Ritual obviously for more healing done, because I mean, and this you can really choose between a couple different Mundastones. Like if you want more magicka, you can go with the Mage or the Atronach, whatever. You can go with the Thief as well if you want more crit on your heals. But I find the Ritual to be just fine in getting my teammates from 1% to 100% very quickly. But let's get onto the skills, obviously. On my Resto, obviously Breath of Life, because that's much needed. Keep the restoring focus as well, because that's less damage being taken, and also gonna raise that lower spell and physical resistance that you have. Luminous Charge, which is your flex spot, but for the most part you're gonna keep that for your tank. Healing Springs, because that goes hand in hand with the Master's Resto Staff, because it also restores stamina every time you use it, and like I said, we're supporting our team. Then Combat Prayer, and you know, obviously that's gonna As you can see, it increases their damage done and gives them a little bit more physical resistance and spell resistance. Like I said, we're just supporting the team. Then we have Aggressive Warhorn, and that is a key component within itself, because it, obviously improves damage done for ult on ult for those destruction ults that your teammates are going to be dropping. That just makes it a little bit easier on the team. And on my destruction staff, obviously, like I said, we're a support role, so we don't really have to worry too much about DPS. And so we have Extended Ritual, Elemental Drain, obviously, because that's much needed. The Magicka still, to support the teammates. Blockade of Storm for the concussion effect. Harness Magicka to obviously keep yourself alive. And Energy Orbs, because the combustion restores health, Magicka, and it just supports the teammates. And then we also have Thunderous Rage. But for the most part, we're not really going to be using this due to the fact that obviously we have Warhorn and we're just here to support the team and not do too much DPS. But obviously when the occasion arises that you can use it, obviously you can throw that down to help out with DPS a little bit. And now let's move on to CP. 48 into Bless, obviously, because you're focused on heals. Increases damage and healing done with crit strikes with magic abilities. This also applies to heals. So more crit with the heals that you have is obviously more healing done. 50 in Elemental Expert, 26 into Spell Erosion, 31 into Staff Expert. Although you can take out of Staff Expert to put more into Thaumaturge, because obviously, I mean, you're not doing a lot of damage, but for the damage that you do, you want it to pop a little bit for you. 16 into Spell Shield, 11 into Crit Resistance. You honestly don't need to put much in these as well, because you're a healer and this isn't PvP, so you really don't have to worry too much about that. 70 into Hardy, 70 into Elemental Defender. I would suggest getting these up to 75 on both, same as the blue skills. 28 into Bastion and 13 into Quick Recovery, because obviously if you get hurt you want to be able to heal yourself, right? Obviously 28 into Bastion to help assist with the shields. Obviously, you want the shields to work while you're getting revives or keeping yourself alive while you're getting those heals out for your teammates. 39 to Whirl It, because if you end up getting CC'd or stunned, you want to be able to break out of it, and with our build we don't have a lot into stamina, so for the small amount of use that it has, we want to be able to actually use it so that we can further assist our teammates. And 75 into Arcanus and Tenacity, obviously, for the 14%, with the last 25 not helping too much. But yeah, that's what you want to do. You want to have 75 in both of those. And that's pretty much the champion point. Yeah, just make sure that if you do decide to go Vampire, that you have, obviously get the 10% magic and stamina recovery, obviously, because that's mainly what you're going to go Vampire with, because obviously you're going to take a lot of fire damage. And also you want to have the Undeath skill passives taken completely, because that's going to help you out a lot with staying alive while you're taking damage. And also you want to have this passive as well. This one you don't really need because it's more of a PvP passive, but the other ones you definitely want to go with. So only thing I would recommend is either going most likely with a Breton for more Magicka, or a High Elf for healing, but like I said, it works with any race, truthfully, because as long as you have the sets and the recovery, you should be in pretty good condition. Yeah, so there we have it. That's Corey, my Templar healer. If you guys are looking for a nice change of pace and a different role to play in ESO, look no further than the healer. They're easy to build, their rotations are simple to learn, their skills are easy to get, and like I said, you'll kill quickly for things. You'll be noticed quicker in the community because you're not just another number for DPS. And like I said, it's challenging yet rewarding. So if you guys like the video, please leave a like on it and subscribe if you haven't already. And I've been xVoidz-y, and I will see you guys in the next video.